Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Out of State Teacher Candidate Presentation from the Office of Teacher Recruitment. Welcome. We're so happy you're here tonight. So before we begin, please use the Q&A function to submit feedback, questions, ideas, and more, and we'll share what comes in throughout the session. So you'll receive a recording of the webinar after it is over, and use the camera function on your smartphone to easily open links via QR codes throughout the webinar. So if you logged into GoToWebinar app on your phone, click the question mark on the top right to ask a question. So before we get started, I want everyone to write down this website, teachnyc.net. That is teachnyc.net. It is the ultimate resource for all things related to teaching at New York City Public Schools. It has been redesigned to provide great resources and tools to help you learn about New York City Public Schools and find the pathway to teaching that's right for you. Today's session is for out-of-state certified teacher candidates or graduate school of education students that are on track to be certified. The presentation has been broken up into a few different topics. An overview of New York City Public Schools, including a spotlight on early childhood education, the online teacher application process, finding your fit, and questions and next steps. Our goal is for you to walk away with an understanding of how you can start the process to begin your teaching career at New York City Public Schools. Before we get started, I want everyone to write down the website one more time, teachnyc.net. It is the ultimate resource for all things related. So the sooner you apply, you'll gain access to the new teacher finder, which is in our portal for all available positions, networking events, principal panels, and for the job search guide. So in this section, we will do a brief overview of New York City Public Schools. You'll see a snapshot of the district, some benefits of careers with New York City Public Schools, and teacher supports and opportunities. So joining the largest school district. So when you join New York City Public Schools, you join the largest, most dynamic district in the nation with over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 fellow teachers. New York City educators have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. New York City public school students represent a wide range of backgrounds, identities, languages, and learning needs. And they need teachers who reflect their diversity and are ready and able to support their learning. So, whatever your background, experiences, and skill sets are, there are students in New York City public school classrooms waiting for a teacher like you. New York City has 1,600 schools that are diverse as our students and distinctive neighborhoods we serve. From neighborhood schools with deep roots in the local community, like mine, to small thematic schools in the performing arts. There are schools with a focus in STEAM, humanities, and dual language schools. So, whatever your interest or passion be, there is a school for you. And you can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy and engage with a community of like minded professionals. Within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationships building and learning outcomes. And we will talk later about how to find your fit and navigate the job search process in New York City. So some core pillars of New York City public schools is reimagining the student experience, scaling and sustaining and restoring that works, prioritizing wellness and its links to student success, engaging families to be our true partners. So we're looking for educators who are motivated to be part of this incredibly challenging but impactful work. And when you come to New York City Public Schools, you join a community of educators guided by a commitment to equity and excellence. Grounded in this commitment, our priorities for the school year are the following I read above. So New York City graphic layout. So you'll see the boroughs, and then within the boroughs, there are districts. So in New York City, it's best to understand that New York City is comprised, of 5 county-level administrative divisions called boroughs. New York City public schools are in all 5 boroughs: the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and Staten Island. Within the boroughs, there are at least one or more school districts, for a total of 32 districts. We also have 2 specialized non-geographical districts, and they're all in all 5 boroughs, which is District 75, which we say D75, and 79. District 75 serves our students who have moderate to severe disabilities. And District 79 serves students who have experienced an interruption to their studies. So for more information, visit our school website, schools.nyc.gov. So who are we looking for? We're looking for um, people like you. New York City Public Schools is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We're looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the incredible diversity of the student body. Passionate. Our team of exceptional educators are passionate about educating urban students, truly believing in the power of education can make in students' lives. Collaborative. Our teachers thrive on constant learning and collaboration with colleagues. Committed. Our teachers go above and beyond for students, understanding students' challenges and embracing their potential. And diverse. We seek teachers who are as diverse as our students. So help put our students on the path to college, careers, and a lifetime of learning. Now we're going to share some teacher testimonials. The teacher on the left says, if you're here, it's because you're passionate about education and helping students learn in the most diverse city in the world. And the other quote says, working and living in New York City affords you a range of opportunities you don't see elsewhere. So the teacher on the left, his name is Sergio. He graduated from Brooklyn College and he teaches middle school English language arts. And then on the right is Charlene, and Charlene teaches science in a high school focused on supporting English language learners and has the opportunity to support students during these critical years as they're learning English and preparing for college, study in the health sciences. So some benefits of a career here in New York City Public Schools are the following. You make a difference in the lives of your fellow New Yorkers, maybe even those in your own local community. You focus on building a better future. You use your skills to help develop the nation's next leaders, innovators, and educators. You build relationships with colleagues dedicated to a shared goal. And you'll be joining a robust network of over 70,000 teachers. We also have competitive salary. On September 14, 2026, salaries will start at 71,314 for bachelor's and no experience, and 80,166 with a master's with no experience. So teachers starting salary based on education and experience. And you can also earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. The Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality is unable to predict what your starting salary will be based on your experience and educational attainment, regardless of the teaching pathway that you choose. But you can estimate your salaries by visiting the UFT salary schedule. Outlines opportunities for increases based on previous teaching experiences, longevity at New York City Public Schools, and educational credits. All teachers begin at the base salary and then apply for salary steps and salary differentials using the salary application system after beginning teaching. If eligible for a higher salary due to experience and educational attainment, you must apply for a salary step when you begin teaching full-time at New York City Public Schools. So please take time now to scan the QR code that says Scan Me for a copy of the schedule from the UFT salary schedule. So another thing, if you're a paraprofessional, your 4 years of service do not count toward teaching salary steps. However, if you're a full-time substitute teacher, your experience does count as a full-time teaching, but you need to provide documentation or proof of your full-time work. Now, looking ahead, the slide looks ahead to that your salary will be in the future in New York City Public Schools. If you're currently in your 8th year of teaching with your master's plus your 30 credits and professional development courses, you would be at 106,907. If you have 15 years of teaching in New York City with your master's degree plus your 30 and professional development courses, you will be making 128,277. Remember, this is using the pay scale for the 2026 school season. So this rate are subject to increase with the yearly raises negotiated on the UFT contract. The next slide will show some additional resources for you. So you can find additional resources regarding salaries on the following web pages. So I'll give you some time now to scan the QR codes for more information. We also have some robust benefits, such as a comprehensive health insurance plan, which includes dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Some of the plans require no employee contribution. There are annual retention bonuses prorated during your first year and increase each year after. There is membership with the United Federation of Teachers, which is our union, enrollment in a pension plan. New York City Public Schools employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, college savings program, and employee discount on everything from technology and media to travel and education. In addition to scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs are available for many employees. New York City Public School employees may also be eligible for Public Service Loan Forgiveness, which is the PSLF program. The PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan and while working full-time for an eligible employer. So you can scan the QR code for more information. In addition, there are teacher leader opportunities where you can earn up to an additional $20,000 per year. And there's model teachers, master teachers, peer collaborative teachers. To learn more, go ahead and scan that QR code. And some of the responsibilities include the following: leading a lab classroom, facilitating professional collaborations, coaching peers and colleagues, and advocating in leadership conversations. Some early childhood education settings. Our pre-K incentive is currently serving all 32 districts, supporting 40,000 students. Early childhood teacher candidates can work in one of 4 early childhood settings in New York City: district schools, pre-K centers, charter schools, or community-based organizations known as CBOs. You can see the 4 settings represented on the My Schools map, which is a free online resource for all prospective teachers. The different settings are represented by different color hands, which you can see on the right side of the screen. District schools and pre-K centers, light blue and dark blue hands. District programs are early childhood classrooms located in district elementary schools, and there are about 700 or more across New York City. Pre-K centers are standalone buildings that only offer 3K and pre-K grades and classrooms. If you work at one of these sites, you are an employee of New York City Public Schools. You must hold a New York State Early Childhood Teaching certification by the start of the school year to work in one of these settings. Then we have charter schools, green hands. New York City Public Schools works with about 15 to 20 charters in New York City that offer early childhood programs. They usually have their own HR and hiring practices, but this is an option for you as a teacher candidate. Then we have CBOs. the orange hands. CBOs are independent, community-based organizations that have contract with the New York City Public Schools to provide free early childhood programs. There are about 1,200 or more across New York City. So look at how many orange hands are on a pre-K finder map. That's actually how I started. And each CBO employs its own teachers, and they are not employees of the New York City Public Schools. As a teacher candidate, it is important to understand the benefits of CBOs in order to maximize your job search and potential to secure a teaching position. One thing that sets CBOs apart is that they are 100% focused on early childhood education. Because of this, all activities, classroom layout, professional development for teachers, selection of educators, family and community programming, are done with young children in mind. They're also known for their small size, family feel, and for their connection to their communities. This allows for a more supportive environment that's really valuable to a new teacher and allows you to establish and build relationships with the families and communities right from the start. Because there are so many CBOs across the city, they are really vary in size, location, and mission. And some of these organizations are run by nonprofits and community-based programs. Others are nursery schools or daycare centers. This allows you as a candidate to tailor your job search and find a position that meets your educational philosophy and your teaching needs, whether those are based on geography or position. CBOs are the only opportunity through the New York City Public Schools to have a lead teacher without having your New York State certification. The not yet certified positions may be of interest to some of you that may not be certified by the start of this next school year, but are interested in getting classroom teaching experience and earning a salary right now. Let's take one final look on the map. All of those orange hands are CBOs. Every year, we see that the vast majority of hiring is happening in this setting. And we foresee that this trend will continue. So if you're already certified in early childhood, be sure to say yes to CBOs on your teacher application so that hundreds of hiring managers can have access to your resume. And you can view positions on the early childhood job board, and you can really maximize your job opportunities. So some teacher hiring data. So here's some data from recruitment and hiring in the 2025-2026 school year. There were over 15,000 applications submitted, and 1,500 application increase from last season. Over 5,400 new traditionally certified teachers were hired, comprising of 81% of overall hires. Traditionally certified teachers completed the education prep program, leading toward certification. 89 applications were from New York State, 89%, I'm sorry, were from New York State, and 23% of new hires teach under students with disabilities license. And 40% of new hires graduated from a teacher preparation program in the past 2 years. Here's some more numbers. 11% of submitted applications were from candidates outside of New York State. As our total application numbers have been growing, that means we're recruiting more candidates from out of state each year as well. And 11% of traditional hires were out-of-state candidates, highlighting that some were in high-need subject areas. And what are these high-need subject areas? And they are the following. While we hire across all certification areas and backgrounds, we want to highlight the current hiring priorities for New York City Public Schools. These priorities can shift from year to year based on the needs of schools. If candidates are not yet certified or candidates are considering adding an extension to your certification, these are areas where principals will be hiring and where there's a high demand for more teachers to be certified. So we encourage you to consider one of these areas where teachers are in high demand. If you have an extension or another certification in one of these subject areas, it might be wise to leverage it to increase your job prospects. And these are special education, science, mathematics, English as a new language, bilingual education, world languages, and career and technical education. So all New York City teachers must hold a valid teaching certification from the state of New York in order to as a requirement for a permanent teaching position at New York City Public Schools. Most of our applicants have already earned their certification or will have it by the time they plan to begin full-time teaching. If you hold a teaching certificate in another state, you must apply for New York State certification at the NYCED.gov website. You should submit your New York City teacher application while you are completing your certification requirements, or while you're waiting for certification. You don't need to wait until your certification is finalized in order to apply. There are unique teaching opportunities if you aren't yet certified, which we'll talk about in the next few slides before we get into the application process. All New York City teachers must possess one of the following: U.S. citizenship, U.S. residency, or a work visa that allows you to work in USA. The New York State teacher certification process. It is important to name that New York State is the final determinator of your certification status, but we are here to guide you through the process, and this can be as soon as this can be as lengthy process, taking from anywhere from 6 to 8 months. So it will be important to get started soon if this is a pathway you're interested in, and to pay close attention to the requirements. Often delays occur because applicants have not submitted all of what is required documentation. If you see the state website in New York City Public Schools, here you'll see, yes, next slide. New York City Public School teacher application, you'll find that teachnyc.net. And then there's the New York State Education Department teacher certification application at nyced.gov. So go ahead and scan these two websites because they are very important. So I will show you what a New York State initial certification looks like. Out-of-state candidates should be applying for initial certification. This is an entry-level certificate valid for 5 years that leads to a professional certificate. Pathways to initial state certification. Here are the pathway options, but it's still important for you to do additional research to find your best pathway into the certification process. Noting that there are other pathways to get into teaching, but we'll talk about the 3 most commonly used. And there are different pathways that out-of-state candidates can receive their teaching certification. Number 1, a recent grad. Number 2, an experienced teacher with 3 or more years of experience. And number 3, a career changer. Normally, most candidates would apply for the initial certificate, so this presentation focuses on the initial certificate. The initial certificate is issued as the entry-level certificate for the classroom teacher, issued in a specific subject with grade titles. And these are normal requirements for the initial certificate. If you met all the requirements, including your testing, you should apply for the initial certificate. The initial certificate is issued as the entry-level certificate for classroom teachers, issued in a specific subject or grade titles. The majority of out-of-state applicants will be submitting their New York State Teach application for this certificate, and it generally takes 5 to 6 months for this process to be completed. The initial certificate is issued as the entry-level certificate for classroom teachers. And again, it takes about 5 to 6 months. So those who are eligible for this pathway are those who have completed a teacher prep program or certified out-of-state teachers who have completed at least 3 years of their teaching career. And you can find your specific requirements visiting the state website. A certification endorsement requirements. You must have a valid, unexpired, comparable teaching certificate from another state, a bachelor's degree with a minimum of 2.5 GPA, 3 years of paid full-time public education teaching experience with satisfactory ratings under a comparable out-of-state teaching certificate, 3 New York State workshops, and fingerprint clearance. And you can find, again, those specific requirements by visiting the state website. You can click on the letter that corresponds with the state that you are certified in, and the chart will be able to, you'll see, will be for your reference. The final authority regarding acceptability of any specific certificate remains with the State of New York Education Department. Again, not New York City Public Schools. For experience, you must have at least 3 years of experience in public schools or other U.S. territories, and verification is needed, exactly, by the person who authorized you to do so. Okay, so interstate reciprocity. New York State determines what is considered a teaching certification, but visit the state website for your state certification. And then individual evaluation requirements, only considered if you have been denied the other two options. So this is not reciprocity. This is an individual evaluation based on New York State requirements. And you can learn more about teaching certification options by visiting the state website. And then there's subject area requirements, along with some required New York State workshops. So no matter which pathway as an out of New York State candidate takes, they must complete the following workshops. They are the child abuse identification, school violence intervention and prevention workshops, training in harassment, bullying, and discrimination prevention and intervention, commonly known as DASA. And for certain certification, the needs of children with autism. The mandated New York State workshops are also have a cost, which depends on where you take them. And you can learn more about the providers of these workshops on the New York State Department of Education website, mentioned below. As they're out of state and online providers, you do not need to be located in New York State to complete these workshops. Some required examinations are the following. So after completing a college teacher education program in another U.S. state, applicants must complete the following: all required exams, all required workshops, and fingerprinting. This generally takes up to 5 to 6 months. You must refer to the New York State Education Department website to distinguish the required examinations for your certification. Exams roughly start around $100 each. And generally, out of state candidates must complete the following exams, which is the Educating All Students, EAS, and the Content Specialty Test known as CSTs. Please note that out of New York State candidates who are going through the endorsement of a classroom teaching certificate pathway do not have to take these exams. But there is required New York State fingerprinting, and all candidates must be cleared by the New York State Education Department through a fingerprint supported criminal history background check. Once you're hired, New York City Public Schools complete the OSPRA 103 form to send your fingerprints from New York State to New York City. Now, candidates that were educated abroad, we recommend first doing the individual evaluation with NYCED before applying to New York City Public Schools so that you find out what, if any, requirements that you are missing. But there is no reciprocity for teaching experience or other teaching prep programs outside of the U.S. You must submit the individual evaluation with NYSA before applying. And submitting your New York State teaching application is very important that you do not delay this. With submitting your application for certification, although the two processes are separate, we will periodically cross-check information from candidates who have submitted their New York City online application to see what their progress is toward receiving New York State certification. And then we don't want you to submit your New York City online teacher application. We want for you to also be certified so that you can be staffed in a role you secure a position for. So if your New York City online teacher application is successfully screened and is moved into the new teacher finder, you can search for positions while you wait for New York State certification. If you are offered a position or are close to receiving state certification, we may be able to help you receive temporary certification so you can begin teaching. But that only works if you've done everything on the teach side, the state side, and look like you meet the requirements. Some out-of-state resource guides you'll see here. Please scan. All right, and now I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, and she's going to share more on the application process, how to apply, the application timeline, and deadlines.
Hey everybody, I have been trying to keep up with the questions and I have been answering as many as I can, and now my colleague is going to take over. It's very challenging to answer some of the questions because they're very specific. So we're going to be talking about the application process in particular. So I'm just going to pass it to my colleague Francesca, if you don't mind going to the questions and see the ones that I haven't answered and see what you can do with that. So we're going to go to the next slide. Everyone must complete the NYC teacher application on teachnyc.net. I have said that in some of the questions with some of the candidates that are considering applying. So when applying to teach in the NYC Public Schools, you should think of several important action steps. The action steps are not necessarily listed in order, since you can submit your NYC teacher application without being officially certified. Oftentimes, teacher candidates want to know, should I wait to be certified before I apply? So we are suggesting that all teacher candidates should absolutely apply before the certification is issued. Applying before you are certified is recommended and expected. Do not wait until after your certification comes, because sometimes it takes a while, you guys. It can take up to 3 to 6 months. So this could delay your potential employment, but make sure you have what you need to be certified. You'll get your teacher certification through NYC State Education Department. It is important to know that NYSED is a separate entity from NYC Public Schools, NYCPS, okay? So NYSED is the main entity that issues the certification. In short, if NYSED says that you are certified, then you are ready to be hired under your certification. Make sure that you're working closely with your college, university certification office to ensure that you complete all the certification requirements. Certifications are now issued on a rolling basis, so the faster you're certified, the easier it is for you to be hired. Now, starting of your application, as we said before many times, you need to visit teachnyc.net, and we have the QR code here for you to scan. If you're on your phone, please go ahead. I'm going to leave the slide on for a little bit because many of you have been asking for this to stay on and asking for us to go back to it. So here you have it. It's teachnyc.net. So you can go ahead and write that down, and you can put it in your search engine. Okay, because you could just be on your phone and it's hard to scan when you're on your phone already. So this is the application guide. We're gonna go to creating an account. So yeah, perfect. If you are a new user to NYC teacher application, you will need to select new user. If you use the teacher application in a previous year, you can use your previous login information in order to gain access to the system. If for any reason you can't remember your previous login information, or you are not sure if you have been in our system in the past, just select not sure, okay? So that's how you should start. So we're going to the next slide. So the first step then is to register for an account. Here is what an account registration page looks like, okay? You will have to complete all the required information and register your account before you can move on to the next steps of the application portal. This is a secure government website, so your personal information is protected. So just make sure you go to the website we give you with the particular details, and you will be directed to the right place. You must fill in all of the requirement fields. For example, your email, your social, and your password, and so on, okay? So going to the next slide. Here's an example, okay, of the icons that are required fields that you will need to complete. If you don't complete this, it will just keep sending you back so you can complete it, okay? Let's go to the next page. So part one, this is the applicant profile. As a note, there are two different parts to this application. The first one is to complete your NYCPS profile, and the second part is the teacher application. You must complete both, okay? So the first part, it moves pretty quickly, okay? So here are some sections that you will have to complete as part of your profile. Account information, work eligibility. These steps ask for the basic contact information. It's a few questions regarding your work eligibility. Remember, okay, to be eligible to work in New York City, you must meet citizenship and or residency requirements. This is a must, okay? You must complete all parts of the eligibility questions, especially if you answered yes to the work authorization status and indicate your specific work authorization status. Note, if you do not disclose your work authorization status, your application will not move forward. This is very, very important. Now, for the education component, teacher applicants must enter their education history for both high school and post-secondary education. Candidates holding advanced or multiple degrees must first enter undergraduate degree information before entering any additional advanced degrees. Experience and references. The work experience information entered in this section can be used to help inform the starting salary of teacher candidates when they are hired. For this reason, the accurate input of professional experience is very, very important. Additional information. Applicants can attach their resume in this section, okay? Attachments cannot exceed 1 megabyte in size. We encourage you to upload your resumes as a PDF. That's very, very important. PDF, okay? To preserve the formatting. As you progress through the teacher application, you can customize your resume when you complete your profile and apply for specific positions. Disclaimer and release statement. Read through the disclaimer and release statement to acknowledge submission of information into the application system. Okay, now we're going to go to part two. This part takes a little longer. Job search profile, experience and certification, resume, and personal statement. This is the part that everybody gets stuck or leaves for a later time. So I would suggest you take your time with this and complete it in a timely fashion. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next page. In the job search profile of the NYCPS teacher application, there are multiple questions that allow you to specify the preferences for grade levels, boroughs, and program type. Grade levels, you can select your grade level preferences in this part of the application. This preference should match your certification areas. Don't select a preference for a grade level you are not certified to teach. Borough preference. Indicate the location where you would be most interested in finding a job. As you might know, NYCPS is the largest school district in the country, operating over 1,600 schools in 5 boroughs. Therefore, understanding your preferences in terms of where you would like to work is important for the staff, for our staff, for NYCPS staff. The first question looks at the top 3 borough preferences. If you are only willing to accept a position in 1 or 2 boroughs, please mark those 1 or 2 boroughs in the first and second preference section. And please mark no preference for the third borough opinion. You can revisit this section of the application as often as you would like. If your circumstances change throughout the hiring season, you can adjust the preferences and you can share that you have shared previously. Now, this is very, very important. I'm a District 75. I didn't introduce myself because I was talking about the question. I'm a District 75 school teacher. I'm an ENL teacher. ENL, ESL, TESOL. Okay. So I work in District 75. This is a very, very high needs area. So District 75 preference is a non-geographic district. So when you are asking to work in District 75, it covers all 5 boroughs, okay? So providing quality and rigorous individualized educational programs to students with significant challenges. If you are in an eligible certification area, your resume must be shared with District 75 schools in the geographic regions you have specified. You can also indicate interest in working in District 75 to help District 75 principals focus on your application. We're now going to go to the next page. Now, for each certification or extension you hold, you will be asked to input the following information. For example, I'm certified in ENL. I'm a certified ESL teacher, TESOL. I'm also certified. I have an extension in special education. So this is something that my principals were aware when I was hired, and they were very excited about it because it did help. It did help put everything into perspective. So you put down your certification status, cert issued, requirements completed. But if you're certified, if you're not yet certified in NYCPS, you indicate that as well. And if you're certified in another state, you also indicate that. Also, you put down your certification type, your subject area, your grade level, your certificate issue date, and the expiration date, if that's applicable, your educational pathway to certification. If you did not attend a traditional teacher preparation program, did you participate in NYC Teaching Fellows, etc. Note that you need to enter this information for each certification and extension you hold. So like I told you, I'm District 75, I work in District 75. I hold the TESOL certification, and I have my extension in special education that however cannot be attached to my TESOL. So that is attached to my certification for English 7 through 12. So I'm certified in English 7 through 12 and English through 7 through 12 special education. So I hold 3 certifications, but I only work under 1. This is the one that I'm tenured in, okay? Just to explain some more stuff to you. Now, next page, please. One of the most common reasons why teacher candidates application get held up during the review process is that they do not upload the correct or current supporting documentation showing they're certified and or on track to be certified. Okay, so you're going to need an electronic copy or a screenshot of your Teach account showing your current active NYS certification, or a letter that you're going to get from your college or your university that you're on track. Okay, now if you hold an NYS teacher certification already, You will need to submit, like we said, a copy, and then show that you're on track. Great. Now, let's go to the next page. So what is the on-track letter? Let us explain. If you receive a teacher certification by September 2026, you must submit a non-track letter completed by your college or your university. You completed an NYS approved teacher preparation program. You can scan the QR code for that, or you're completing an approved teacher preparation program in another US state or territory. Because you guys are out of state, this can be applicable to you, but other people could be doing an online program in New York City or state, so that could be applicable. That's why we have both QR codes for you. We're going to stay a little bit on this page. So you can scan it, or you can even screenshot the page, okay? And you can scan these QR codes later. Let's go to the next page. Only application, bring up the overview again. After completing the common profile for NYC Public Schools, teacher applications and teacher applicants will then receive a confirmation email from the Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality confirming receipt of the application. All applications will be reviewed to determine certification eligibility. Only applications that meet standards are entered into the new Teacher Finder, a database for candidates to connect with schools and access job listings and other resources. We'll talk more about the new Teacher Finder in a few minutes. Now, you can officially start your job research, your job search. Okay, let's go to the next page. This is very quickly, we're going to go over this. The application timeline, we start in January, and it finishes around August, which is the peak hiring season, just to give you a sense of what's going on. The application typically opens around the beginning of winter and remains open through the summer. There is a lot of mid-year hiring that takes place during the early winter months, and then principals begin hiring and interviewing for the following school year. Early commitment is an initiative for candidates certified in high-need subject areas to be able to accept positions in certain districts prior to budget being released for peak hiring. This year, we even had a stipend available for eligible high-needs subject area candidates who accepted an early commitment before June 16. Then finally, peak hiring is June through August. Yeah, we had that last year. I think it was over $1,000. Okay, let's go to the next page, please. Okay, perfect. Now, how do you take advantage of early supports? If you submit your application by March 5th, remember the date, March 5th, you may be eligible for early commitment opportunities, meaning you could secure a position in specific districts and subject areas before the peak hiring season and potentially earn an early commitment stipend, which is very important. Why not? The job search supports include invitations to in-person and virtual networking events for early commitment schools, opportunities to participate in school tours, access to vacancy lists for early commitment, schools, and invitation to virtual job search and workshops. Let's go to the next page. Requirement to teach in NYCPS. So you need three things, you guys. Okay, you need to be certified, you need to complete the requirements and apply for NYS teaching certificate. You need to submit a teacher application at teachnyc.net when it opens in January. Remember, you do not have to wait for your certification to apply, okay? And finally, you need to find your own position, doing your own outreach, your own research, and your own networking, which we will speak to in the next section. Finding your fit. So we have high need subject areas, finding the right position, and the new teacher finder. So One helpful job search tool is the New Teacher Finder, NTF. Once you submit a high quality application, you will get access to the New Teacher Finder. You will be able to log in and use the New Teacher Finder in many ways, in several ways. Your application profile will become viewable to principals and recruiters. You'll be able to search for teaching positions. It's important to know that not all principals list positions in the NTF, but many, many do. And this will give you a sense of what's out there. Principals may not post positions, but they could be looking to review resumes to see which candidates can be a good fit for their schools. If you're certified in a high needs area, you may receive invitations to NYCPS sponsor recruitment events during the spring and the summer. It's important to know not all candidates are invited to all the events, okay? Online or in person. Overall application quality, event capacity, and current certification needs are taken into great consideration when inviting candidates to networking events. Now, let's go to the next page. This is what the Teacher New Finder looks like. If you can take a quick look. Okay. Remember, teachnyc.net. Okay. Once you apply and once everything opens, you will be able to have access to these. Okay. Let's go to the next page. And this is how you search for schools under Find a School. And this is how a school page would look like typically. And then as you are continuing your job search, you will want to think about ways to help that can help you stand out virtually. Okay, this can include creating a portfolio, ensuring your cover letter and your cover letter and resume are strong, clear, and specific, and upload a portfolio and or video demo lessons. You can upload all these information in the Spotlight section of the New Teacher Finder so that the principals can see it when they view your application. You can also send this information to principals and hiring managers via email when conducting your search. Note that your demo lessons should be uploaded to an online platform like Google or Dropbox. And you can then include the link to that portfolio. Make sure it's shareable. Okay, when you share, make sure it's you give access to people to view. Don't give access for people to edit, but make sure that people can view these. With the right strategies and approaches, you can find the position that is right for you. Okay, so we have been working very with great effort to try to answer as many of your questions as possible. And we want to share the last slide. Teach NYC Support Center. This is scan the QR code, please. And again, remember, teachnyc.net. You can access answers at any time, day or night. Hundreds of articles covering Work It and NYC Public Schools, certification, the onboarding process, and more. Submit help desk inquiries for individualized support. Remember, this is the page. Please, you can either screenshot the Scan Me code, okay? Or just go to teachnyc.net. And please follow us on social media at teachnyc official. So we have our Facebook, our Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Okay. So if you have any more questions that we can answer, we literally have 1 minute. Thank you all for joining us.